stare, with hand of ice and cheek of snow, and frozen lips that whisper low, "Come, children, it is time to go, my peaceful couch to share." No years a wakeful heart can tire, no bedtime yet. Come stir the fire, and warm your dear old hands. Kind Mother Earth we love so well, has pleasant stories yet to tell, before we hear the curfew bell. Still glow the burning brands. Not bedtime yet, we long to know what wonders time has yet to show. What unborn years shall bring, what ship the Arctic pole shall reach, what lessons science waits to teach, what sermons there are left to preach, what poems yet to sing. What next, we ask, and is it true? The sunshine falls on nothing new. As Israel's king declared, was ocean plowed with harnessed fire, or nations coupled with the wire? Did Tarshish telegraph to Tyre, how Hiram would have stared? And what if Sheba's curious queen, who came to see and to be seen, or something new to seek, and swooned as ladies sometimes do, at sights that thrilled her through and through, had heard as she was coming to a locomotive's shriek, and seen a rushing railway train as she looked out along the plain from David's lofty tower. A mile of smoke that blots the sky and blinds the eagles as they fly behind the cars that thunder by, a score of legions an hour. See, to my looks respond this little slumbering, fire-tipped wand. One touch, it bursts in flame. Steal me a portrait from the sun, one look, and two, the picture done. Are these old tricks King Solomon, relying moderns claim? Could you have spectroscoped a star, if both those mothers at your bar, the cruel and the mild, the young and tender, old and tough, had said, divide your right, though rough? Did old Judea know enough to etherize the child? These births of time our eyes have seen, with but a few brief years between. What wonder if the text, for other ages doubtless true, for coming years will never do, whereof we all should like a view, if but to see what next. If such things have been, such may be, who would not like to live and see, if heaven may so ordain? What waves undreamed of, yet in stone, the waves that roll forevermore, on life's long beach may east ashore, from out of the mist-clad main. Will earth to pagan dreams return, to find from misery's painted urn that all save hope has flown, of book and church and priest bereft, the rock of ages vainly cleft, life's compass gone, its anchor left lost in depths unknown. Shall faith the trodden path pursue? The crooks and sad wearers new, who sleep with folded hands, were like a naked lidless eye. The staring Nile rolls wandering by those mountain slopes that climb the sky, above the drifting sands. Or shall a nobler faith return, its veins a purer gospel learn, with holier anthems ring, and teach us that our transient creeds were but the perishable seeds of harvest sown for larger needs that ripening years shall bring. Well, let the present do its best. We trust our Maker for the rest. As on our way we plod, our souls full dressed in fleshy suits, love air and sunshine, flowers and fruits, the daisies better than their roots, beneath the grassy sod. Not bedtime yet, the full-blown flower of all the year, this evening hour, with friendship's flame, is bright. Life is sweet, the heavens are fair, though fields are brown and woods are bare, and many a joy is left to share, before we say good night. And when our cheerful evening past, the nurse long waiting comes at last, ere on her lap we lie, in wearied nature's sweet repose, at peace with all our waking foes, our lips shall murmur ere they close, good night, and not goodbye. Our next selection of reading is a prose fable by Jean de La Fontaine. The title is The Priest and the Corpse. There was a funeral. The dead body was progressing sadly towards its last resting place, and following rather gladly was the priest who meant to bury it as soon as possible. The dead man, in a leaden coffin, was borne in a coach, and was properly shrouded in that robe the dead always wear, be it summer or winter. As for the priest, he sat near it, intoning as hard as he could all sorts of orisons, psalms, lessons, verses, and responses, in the hope that the more he gave, the more would be paid for. Leave it to me, Mr. Deadman, his actions seemed to say. I'll give you a nice selection, a little of everything. It's only a matter of fees, you know. And the Reverend John Prose kept his eye on his silent charge, as if he expected someone would make off with it. Mr. Deadman, his looks proclaimed, by you I shall receive so and so much in money, so and so much in wax candles, and possibly a little more in incidental profits. On the strength of these calculations, he promised himself a quarter cask of the best wine the neighborhood could offer. Beyond that, he settled that a certain very attractive niece of his, as well as his housekeeper, Bequette, should both have new dresses. Whilst these pleasant and generous thoughts were running in his mind, there came a terrific shock. The car overturned. The car overturned. The Reverend John Crow's head was broken by the coffin which fell upon him. Alas for the poor priest! He went to heaven with the parishioner he thought only to bury. In reality, life over and over again is nothing but the fate of Reverend John Crow, who counted on his dead, and of Barrette, who counted on her chickens. Well, that was a rather interesting and grim tale of tragedy and comeuppance. Did you like it? Or did you dislike it greatly indeed? Our pumpkin candle is making wax, as you have seen. We have 3 more poems yet for reading today. The remaining 3 are all by Archibald Lampman. The first of these, for our whispered reading, accompanied by our delightful but melting pumpkin candle, is titled A Forecast. What days await this woman whose strange feet breathe spells, whose presence makes men dream like wine? Tall, free, and slender as the forest pine, whose form is molten music, through whose sweet, frank eyes I feel the very heart's least beat. Keen, passionate, full of dreams and fire, how in the end, and to what man's desire, shall all this yield? Whose lips shall these lips meet? One thing I know, if he be great and pure, this love, this fire, this beauty shall endure. Triumph and hope shall lead him by the palm. But if not this, some differing thing he be, that dream shall break in terror, he shall see. The whirlwind ripen where he sowed the calm. That was A Forecast by our friend Archibald. The next poem is called A Night of Storm, also by Mr. Lampman. O city, whom grey stormy hands have sown, with restless drift, scarce broken now of any, out of the dark thy windows dim and many gleam red across the storm. Sound is there none, save evermore the fierce winds sweep and moan, from whose grey hands the keen white snow is shaken, desperate gusts that fitfully lull and waken. centers of the storm unite, and spreading with huge trunk and rolling fringe, each wheeled upon its own tremendous hinge, tower darkening on. And now from heaven's height, with the long roar of elm trees swept and swayed, and belted waters on the vanished plain, plunges the blast behind the wild white flash that splits abroad the pealing of thunder crash over bleared fields and gardens disarrayed. Column on column comes the drenching rain. I quite liked this one, actually. I think A Thunderstorm is quite one of my favorite poems. Did you like it? I could really feel the rain. I could feel the storm. His wording really got me up in the moment, and I could picture this coming thunderstorm. The first poem I read is not one that will be added to my list of favorites, but that's what happens with some poems. Not all of them will be favorites. Well, now that our gorgeous pumpkin is about halfway melted, I suppose we must say goodnight. Sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite. If they bite you,